The hands that knit the carpet of tiny twinkling tails. High and mighty are the ways of the crown. The wind swept the last child of the spring. All our unanswered prayers are like the living dead. Do you find anything special in these lines? Do they tell you more than what meets your eyes? Do they sound peculiar? Let's find the answers. Hello and welcome to Ace the English Hub, and in this video we are going to see figures of speech. Technically speaking, a figure of speech is a word or phrase used in a non-literal sense for rhetorical or vivid effect. That is, there is more meaning to it than what you find in the words. Not a literal meaning, but a figurative meaning. Let's look at the most widely used figures of speech. And we'll be learning figures of speech today with our most loved songs. First up is simile. A simile draws a comparison between two things. That is, it compares two different things. An easy way to spot a simile is to look for the words like or as.
You and I were beautiful like diamonds in the sky.
Here, beauty is compared to the diamonds in the sky or stars with the use of the word like. Our second figure of speech is metaphor. A metaphor describes something by suggesting that it is identical to another thing. It tells that one thing is the other.
You are my fire.
The person is described as fire, meaning passion. The metaphor makes us understand the significance of the other person to the singer. Next up is personification. Writers use personification to attribute human qualities to non-living objects.
If the whole world was watching, I'd still dance sweet.
The world, an inanimate object, is given a human quality of watching. A hyperbole, another figure of speech, exaggerates a particular condition for emphasis. The key word here is exaggeration. The world stops and stares for a while. Now, does that really happen? No. And we have an exaggeration of the girl's beautiful smile. Next is metonymy. Now, this figure of speech and the next one is a bit tricky. A metonymy is a substitute word that stands for something closely associated with it. Here, ring signifies the concept of marriage. The word marriage is substituted with the word ring, which is closely associated with it. A synecdoche is a figure of speech where a part of a thing is used to relate to the whole.
All eyes on me.
Instead of saying, people are looking at him, the part attributed with the gift of seeing, that is, the eyes, are said to be looking at the singer. Next is symbol. A symbol is something that denotes some other thing. A classic example is the red rose as a symbol of love.
Let it go, turn away and slam the door.
Here, the door is a symbol of protecting herself from her past, of fear and oppression. Now, don't get me started on the plentiful symbolisms we can find in the video song from Frozen. Next, we have imagery. Imagery is vivid visual description, a word picture.
I'm down in bed, put on my best suit, got in my car.
We have a vivid description of what the singer did on a Saturday morning. The listeners can imagine the scene picturesquely. We are moving on to rhyme. A rhyme is a repetition of similar sounds, usually at the end of lines in a poem. Ways and names. They sound similar, especially the last s sound. Hell and hell. We have a repetition of the same words and create the same sounds. An oxymoron is a figure of speech that contains words that seem to contradict each other.
You see her when you close your eyes.
You see her when you close your eyes. The action of seeing is physically impossible when the eyes are closed. Seeing with eyes closed clearly is contradictory. Onomatopoeia. When we use onomatopoeia, words evoke the actual sound of the thing they refer to or describe.
Dog goes woof, cat goes meow, bird goes tweet, and
Woof, meow, squeak, tweak are words that represent the sounds made by the corresponding animals. Moving on to the last two. Alteration. Alliteration is also known as head rhyme or initial rhyme, refers to the repetition of consonants at the beginning of words.
Broken barriers bounded by the bomb beat. Buildings are broken, basically I'm bombarding.
That is a lot of b sounds. Note that these sounds are at the beginning of words too. Assonance. Assonance is a vowel equivalent of alliteration. It is a repetition of similar vowels in the stressed syllable of words that occur near each other.
Shocked at the hospital by the doctor when I'm not cooperating. When I'm rocking the table while he's operating.
Did you notice those awes in those lines? And also listen to the effect they produce. That is all the figures of speech for today. Now back to my first question. Can you find the peculiarities of these lines? Do let us know. Also remember that in one line itself there can be any number of figures of speech. All the best and see you again next week with another bite-sized lesson.